to my channel. Today I'm going to be walking you through my studio jacket pattern. Along with all my other patterns, it'll be linked in my Etsy down below to purchase. Like in my previous videos, I'm using my pattern at half size to save fabric, but I've doubled the seam allowance so it shouldn't be too confusing to follow along. I'm really excited to walk you through this jacket pattern because I just feel like this is such a versatile piece and you can keep coming back to it and make it different every time. So this video is going to have a couple options for beginner sewers or even experts.
The first step is to finish the pockets, although the pockets are completely optional, so feel free to skip the step if you don't want pockets. Take your pockets and finish the top and sides with bias tape. We're going to be using bias tape a little differently than my other tutorials because we want the tape to be showing on both sides. Sew the bias tape with right sides together at 1/4 inch. Fold the bias tape over the seam and under by 1/4 inch. Pin and stitch so it sandwiches the raw edge. Now, if you don't want to use bias tape, another option would be to cut a second set of pocket fabric out and sew at 1/4 seam allowance, right sides together, just at the top and side pieces, and then flip it out and press. However, I would not recommend this if you're working with heavyweight fabrics since you'll have too much bulk at the end when you're finishing the hem. Now this jacket is designed to be reversible, so in order to have pockets on both sides, you will need to make 4 finished pockets. Match them to the front of the jacket using the notch for placement, and use a regular stitch to sew the finished side of the pocket down, making sure to catch both sides nicely. Then baste the pocket in place at the front opening and the hem. Next, we assembled the actual jacket. You can start here if you want to completely skip the pockets. It comes together pretty quickly, but it's special because we're using French seams so the jacket can be reversible. If you couldn't find reversible fabric, you can use 2 different lightweight fabrics that are basted together to get a reversible jacket. For this tutorial, I'm using a fabric with right and wrong side just to demonstrate. So we'll start with the center back here. So take the wrong side of the back pieces together and stitch at 1/4 seam allowance. I said wrong sides together in this case, but I mean whichever side you want to be in the inside. You'll start each French seam with that side facing each other. Trim the seam allowance back by 1/8 inch and press open. Now flip these pieces right sides together and pin to hold that seam flat. You'll see I'm using a lot of pins here so that it really holds it in place. Sew at 1/4 seam allowance and press this seam to the left. Now we'll attach the front and back pieces together at the side and sleeve seams. Start with the wrong sides together again. Stitch at 1/4 seam allowance. And trim that seam allowance back by 1/8 inch and press open. Flip the pieces right sides together and pin to hold that seam flat. Again, I'm using a lot of pins here. Sew at 1/4 seam allowance and press the seams to the back. Now you'll finish all of the edges with bias tape. The same way we did the pockets, sew the bias tape right sides together at 1/4 inch. Fold the bias tape over the seam and under by 1/4. Pin and stitch so it sandwiches that raw edge. For the jacket hem, before you fold under and over, sew the short edge of the right sides of the bias tape at the ends of the seam to close that raw edge. Then fold the bias tape over the seam by 1/4 inch and top stitch so all the raw edges are concealed. For the cleanest look, applying the bias tape to the opening and the hem in one go and mitering the corners would probably be best, but I forgot to do that here, so let me know if you want a tutorial for mitered corners. For sleeves, finish similarly to conceal raw edges. If you don't want to use bias tape, finish by folding 1/4 inch and then again at 1/4 inch, and then pin all the way around and sew along the edge at 1/8 inch, creating a rolled hem for both the jacket openings and the sleeve cuff. Make sure you have cut extra length for the hem as noted in my pattern. Finish the hem by folding 1/4 inch and fold again at 1 inch and pin all the way around and sew at about 1/8 inch away from the folded edge. Finishing this way is not ideal for heavyweight fabric, so I'd recommend giving bias tape a try. It's the easiest way to get a professional looking garment without a serger.
I hope you enjoyed this video and you try to make your very own studio jacket. Again, I feel like this is a pattern you could come back to and maybe make it with different pocket styles and change it up. Again, that pattern is linked down below at my Etsy along with all my other patterns, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.